The true story of Hammond, VanOchre, and his amazing flying steam pig, and I was the writer and producer of the film. It's a mockumentary that tells the story of a Victorian-era engineer who is in Chicago in 1893 when they had the World's Fair, and he wants to fly a flying pig over the Ferris wheel, which was at that time the first Ferris wheel, and he wants to be bigger and bolder and better, but he runs into some obstacles. No one really believes that a pig can fly. In Grand Rapids, Michigan, where I'm from, my brother Tom is an artist, and he, with a very strong team of people, 7 years ago, in 2010, built this pig out of foam. It was, I want to say, 55 feet long and 25 feet wide and 25 feet high, and it weighed about 32,000 pounds. And he did it for an installation project at a what's called Art Prize, which is a yearly festival in Grand Rapids with art, outside art. And so he had this big, giant foam pig, with turbines for legs, which was going to fly. I mean, it didn't fly, but he needed a backstory for this flying pig, and so he asked me to write up and to invent a backstory about what this was. And so I invented this engineer, this whacked out engineer who wanted to make an actual flying pig, and I put him in the time zone of the 1893 World's Fair, which was a wonderful fair, which was full of innovation, and then just kind of dumped him into real life people like George Ferris, who made the Ferris wheel. Exactly, right. And it's supposed to be about following your dreams when other people think, a pig can't fly. And so that's kind of what I wanted it to be about. And so what happens is his plans for this flying pig get lost, and then they're found in modern day, and then they make the pig, actually, spoiler alert, should I spoil? Yeah, they make the pig fly. So the footage that you see in the film of this pig is actually of the statue that my brother made. We incorporated that into it to enhance kind of this real aspect of it. So many of those photos I actually had to go to the library to purchase the rights to a couple different libraries to get those pictures, those old time pictures. So they are authentic. Many of them I got from the Library of Congress. There are different copyright laws, and I'm not a lawyer, but some things that are so old you can get without worries of copyright, and so some of them from the Library of Congress were available. Others I had to actually buy and purchase for the rights to, and without telling you which ones, but because I used a lot of them, obviously. And then my brother and his friend Alicia worked together, have a background in animation, and did a lot of the animation. So he not only made this pig, which is the backstory of the thing, he's in the movie, and he did the titles, and he did a lot of the animation with Alicia. So yeah, so it's a family affair. We had a director who, Zernal, who directed, who did the music, who did the editing. So it was a really collaborative effort. We had a young woman, a college student actually at Kendall College of Art and Design, which is in Grand Rapids, which is people who do those things, animation and art, and she was a student in that, and she actually made, if I'm saying this right, she actually made the model of the pig itself, and then Alicia was able to take that model and do the graphics and plug it into the scenery and stuff like that. There's a second or two of Tom at the end when he's in the eye of the pig. You see him, and he's shouting, "More steam, more steam!" And so we shot that on a green screen, and then Alicia was able to put him into this eye of this CGI created pig. Yeah, so again, a huge collaboration. The film is only 30 minutes, and I think it took a little more than 2 years to make.
So it's just about the action.
Yes. Yeah, it was a long effort. We shot it, and I think I counted up once. I want to say 7 different locations with all the reenactments and everything. and with the present day experts, people like Tom talking, the historian who studied Hammond VanOchre, and the great granddaughter, and the casting was from mostly of word of mouth, people we knew. Yeah, it really was. We got Hammond VanOchre, a young gentleman named Chase, through an ad, actually. So that, but the others were all, well, Tom is in it. He's the one who talks about finding the thing. The gentleman who is the scuba guy who talks about the lumberman, which was the ship that he was on, which is actually a real ship, which is a real shipwreck. And the guy who's in the film, who is talking about the shipwreck part of it, and you see parts of the lumberman behind him, those are all actually authentic, and that is the guy who actually found the lumberman in Lake Michigan. And we got him to do this thing, and he was all about it. He was fabulous. He was like, he tried to make up all these different stories and stuff. He was tremendous, but not an actor. Yeah. So that was really fun. And then a couple others were just, I'm trying to think, where again, the historian was a word of mouth, a friend of the director. The woman who was the great granddaughter, I think, of Baumgartner was a friend of another actor that I knew. The ship captain came from an ad, and so did Baumgartner. So there were a couple that were just ads out in Grand Rapids where we shot most of it.
Well, it's good to hear that, because one of the things I wanted to make comments, I didn't know there was that many filmmakers up in Michigan, so it's great to hear there's a lot of...
Interesting, isn't it? Yeah, it was. We shot it there again because Tom and Alicia that was sort of the hub of where all the action was taking. So I'm in Chicago. Yeah, a couple of the things were shot in my apartment in Chicago. And the gentleman I was talking about, the diver who has the lumberman artifacts, he's actually in northern Illinois.
That's very interesting.
So yeah, so we were there. The director shot some of the scenes at the end when you're getting a lot of the reaction scenes from where he lives, and he lives in Maryville, Indiana. So you're in Indiana, you're in Grand Rapids, Michigan, you're in Illinois. Yeah, so we were at a couple different places. And the pig is no more. The pig is chopped, pun intended. But the pig is the actual the foam pig itself is unfortunately no more, sadly. Yeah, but we have footage of it, which again, as I said, we used in the movie. I wrote it, and but I'm out of the whole. I don't direct. I have no background in it. My background is actually in journalism. Not in this at all. I'm going into this at a later point of my life. As I told you before, I'm going to get my MFA in screenwriting. So for me, I was a little project assistant or production assistant, whatever. I was just running around helping and helping my mom when she would bring us she would do the catering. And so yeah, I had my vision and stuff, but I let the director Z Zernal. He was the director, so I was just helping out as much as I could. And I will tell a funny story that I hope Chase wouldn't mind me telling. Chase, I hope you don't mind me telling this. And he probably didn't think it was funny, but I kind of thought, Chase had this beautiful long hair. The lead actor, and you see that long, which we like that feature of him, this long kind of, hair. And one night he was out at a bar, and a girl was waving a flame, just being silly, at a bar, and it burned his hair off, and he had like 2 days before shooting, and he had a bob then, and so we had to rescue that with hair extensions. Oh, wow. So I was like, wow, this must be like Hollywood. They were supposed to happen all the time. This was the first film I've ever done, so this was a maiden voyage for me.
But you have fun, don't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Now I have to do my next project. So.
You have any thoughts on your next project? Are you focusing on
in Michigan, in northern Michigan, there is a little community that is kind of at one point a thriving farm town, agricultural community, northwest Michigan, and it is now whoosh gone, and the federal government owns it, and it's by the Sleeping Bear Dunes. If you know where the Sleeping Bear Dunes are, it's called Port Oneida. And my brother and his friend Alicia had driven around there and saw it's very visually striking because there are these old farmhouses, but it's like, again, this ghost town. So we're thinking of doing some kind of, I don't know, I have to explore it more, but seeing what we can do with Porto Night, I don't know. I don't know. This is something we're thinking about. Because I had written the story as a narrative before that when for helping, and I just thought it'd be fun to interject, to put him into real life people. I just thought, wouldn't it be wacky, like if he met Daniel Burnham, who was the architect of the World's Fair, and what would that be like? What kind of exchange would they have? Oh, I want to build a flying pig. What do you think? And the wheel, we get at that. And when you think about that wheel, it's fabulous. But I tried to get him. Actually, that wasn't that. I will tell you. There's a scene in there where he's arguing with. They're making a pitch to the investors with Ferris, and they're arguing about which if they're holding up their sketches of their respective drawings. He's holding up the Ferris wheel. He's holding up the pig, and that actually is. Improv. That was not scripted. That little exchange, it's a brief little exchange, but it's a lot of fun. And he gets at the idea that the lead character, Hammond, VanOchre, gets at the idea that all wheel does is turn around and around and around. And that particular part is unscripted. So they did a great job on that. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. This is
Yeah, we're glad it came out.
Thank you.